What's going on, everyone? It's Jacqueline here from NothingButTech. Hope you guys are all doing well. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're talking about the Palm phone. So when I saw this phone come out a little while back, I can honestly say it's the most excited I've been for a product in a really long time. And now I don't know if it's because I thought it would unlock the possibility of not having to lug around a giant phone, or if it was from the sheer cuteness of it. Honestly, it was probably a little bit of both. But here I am, after using it for a while, hoping it would have been more than it is. Now, all of that isn't Palm's fault. In fact, they actually did a lot right here, and they stuck to a lot of their launch time promises. But right now, it has a few core issues that keep it from being an instant recommend. Before we dive into why, I want to tell you guys about their mission statement, because that's definitely going to give the video some context. So this phone came out as like the companion phone, a phone for your phone, a phone to keep you more present, something that you wouldn't be on all the time, but that would give you access to messaging and phone and all that kind of stuff without making you tied to your phone. Now, I love that idea. This age, we're all trying to get rid of or monitor the amount of time that we spend on our phones with things like screen time or screen time limits, like once you reach a certain amount of time on social media or an app, it will kick you off. And I appreciate Palm's ambition in trying to be part of that movement of keeping everyone more present. But you know, sometimes like when there's an idea and there's just not a perfect execution, this is one of those times. All right, but let's start out with some of the good, because there is definitely some good here. It starts out with a pretty familiar, pretty good design. So you're getting a metal and glass sandwich with the camera hump on the back, and this really nice gold look, which I love gold. It looks really sweet. On the bottom, you're getting a USB Type-C charge port and IP68 water and dust resistance, which is always really nice to see. And the phone it feels good in the hand. It feels good and it looks good, which is definitely really important. It's also like tiny, so it's just a little bit bigger than a credit card and 62.5 grams, which means that you can honestly put this in your pocket or your bag and forget it's there. So because it's glass and metal though, it's going to be plagued with similar issues to the iPhone X, which it heavily resembles, meaning that you're going to get a lot of fingerprints on the back, and the camera also protrudes a little bit, but it actually doesn't wobble on the table back and forth, which is a really nice thing to see. It only has one button, which is the power button on the right-hand side. And that means that in order to adjust the volume, we're going to need to go into the settings. So it's an extra step, but I don't feel like you're going to be doing a ton of volume adjustment on here. Like, this isn't going to be your main media consumption device, obviously. But it is that extra step that it feels like it wasn't perfectly thought out, and I don't know if they would even be able to fit the volume on here just because the device is so small, and you definitely get used to it, but it's a little bit of an inconvenience for sure. So on the back, you do have that camera hump, as I was mentioning, on the left side, and here you're going to get a camera and a flash, and the flash is really good. So it actually lights up the entire room. I was like shocked. So this would actually be perfect if like you're taking this out at night or something. It will act as like your phone, your messenger, and your flashlight. That's legit. The camera, not so much. So my hope for this device, and I don't know, I feel like this isn't like Palm's necessarily intended purpose, but I would have loved to be able to take this phone on a night out with no other phone. And the reason for that is clothing manufacturers never really give girls enough or deep enough pockets, if pockets at all. So this phone being so small means it will fit into basically any pocket. But because the camera just isn't there, it's not that great, it's kind of tough to have this be your only phone. All the images are passable, and in regular lighting conditions, they're pretty okay. But in low light conditions, it kind of falls apart, and it's the type of camera where you're never gonna be like wowed by an image. It's okay, it's not great. It does have a front-facing camera, which is nice, and you can use that for face unlock, which is a nice feature to see here. My favorite method of actually getting in, though, is just a pattern. Because the phone is so small, it's so easy for my thumb just to quickly do the pattern on the device, but I like that face unlock as an option. In terms of battery life, you're getting pretty decent battery life, but if you disable background sync, the battery life is going to be like excellent. Like, you can get like 2 days of standby time when you disable background sync, and that's without life mode turned on. So that's a good thing to see for sure. And you're also not going to be heavily using this phone, so even though it only has 800 milliamp hours, it's going to be fine for sure. And then the other thing that I was just mentioning is called life mode. And that's kind of how they recommend you use a phone, or it's marketed a lot in that way. And basically, life mode is a mode that you turn on, and it will mute notifications when the screen is off. So again, trying to keep you more present. I like the ambition there. And they give the example of using Bluetooth headphones while you're on a run and taking this phone with you. And I like that a lot. I think that that's a good idea. But here's the thing. This review, it's tough because I wanna say all these great things about the phone, and I wanna praise Palm, and that's because I really think that what they're doing is awesome and that their ambition is really there and they're trying to make this a really successful product, but it's not all there yet. It's just the execution isn't fully there yet, and we're going to get into that more so why later in this video, but one of the core reasons why is the sheer price tag. At $350, this is a tough pill to swallow because it's not your main phone. It's a phone that goes with your phone, and with phones being like $1,000 now, this is like a $350 added expense, and it's just not a necessity. If this was like an essential thing that would revolutionize and change your life, maybe that $350 would be okay, but it's not, right? It has its flaws. And it's not going to completely change the way you use your phone for most people. So it becomes hard to recommend a $350 phone when you can get like a full-fledged, awesome phone, like a Poco phone, for $350. So that leads me to the point of, if it was like $150, even with the flaws that I've already mentioned and that I'm about to mention, I think it would be a much more appealing purchase and a much more incidental purchase. Like, you get it for the holidays or your birthday or something just because you think it's a cute phone and you think that maybe you could use it sometimes. But at $350, it's definitely a purchase that you really need to think about, and you can get a lot of other pieces of tech for that same money that will actually maybe have a greater impact on your life. Okay, and then my other really core main issue with this phone is kind of specific to iPhone users, but it's the fact that you can't use this phone with iMessage, and that's one of the core main things that draws people to the Apple's ecosystem. iMessage, right? A lot of people's friends have it. It's great for group texting, read receipts, like all that kind of stuff. It's great. And a lot of people that are on iPhone, like almost everyone on iPhone is using iMessage. It's the whole thing, blue bubble, green bubble, whatever it may be, whatever your views are on Apple. If you have an iPhone, you're going to have to turn it off and use like Verizon messaging, which it's not great. Like, that definitely is a deterrent here because you don't want your secondary phone limiting how you use your primary phone and changing that experience. Obviously, with Android, it's a nicer story, as it often is with third-party accessories. Okay, and then the third main issue with this phone is the lack of speed. So when you're using this phone, you want it to be fast. It costs a decent amount of money, and it's supposed to just be there with you, and an easy phone to use. And it runs Android, which I think is a great start here, and I think it's awesome that it runs like a full-fledged operating system. It means that you have access to the Play Store and all those apps that come with it, so I can download the app Send Anywhere and then send my photos, if I want them, from here to my computer, or I could download Instagram or Twitter or YouTube, whatever it may be. But it's not a fast phone. With the one button at the bottom for navigation, it always feels like it's a beat behind. Like, I press it, wait, and then it goes. It never really feels like it's working with me. It feels like it's a little bit delayed, which isn't a good feeling to get from a phone of this caliber. And then the other thing is that all those apps that you can download, and the fact that Android gives you all of that, they're not really that practical because the screen is only 3 inches. And I understand that the whole point of this phone is the fact that it's so small, but like, when people are reviewing it saying, oh, you can watch YouTube videos on it, that's cool, but I don't think that you're going to be doing a lot of that. I like that it's there though, for sure. And I also like that it has Android for the reason that the keyboard is so tiny and it's kind of hard to type on. But if you download like a third-party swipe keyboard, you're going to have a lot more of an easy time using it. So I appreciate that it's Android, and I wouldn't want to change that. But the performance needs to be there too if it's going to run a software like Android. All right, so bottom line, Palm got a lot right with this phone. They got a really nice build, a good operating system, and a lot of ambition to back it. They also got a famous basketball player, Steph Curry, involved in the marketing of this phone. But right now, at its price tag, with slow graphics and not a convenient way to use it with iPhone, I just can't recommend it now. If it gets a price cut and a software update for better optimization, it will be a different story, and I'm definitely going to keep it for hoping that that happens. But until then, it's kind of just a novelty piece of tech. Appreciate you guys all watching this video though. Smash the like button if you enjoyed it. Subscribe right here so you don't miss any other content. Check out another video right here, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.